So again, one of the key things behind the PRA is that each and every month, one of our members gives a presentation on something that they are obviously enthusiastic about, related to amateur radio or related to radio in general. So tonight we have Johnny W5KV, who will be presenting an update on the experimental site that he had set up at our water tower site on Meshcore. So Johnny, the floor is yours. I'll see if I can get you teed up here.
Thanks, Dan. Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny. My call sign is Whiskey 5 Kilo Victor. I am the Meshcore representative for the city of Aurora. There's a group of us who basically, we have like an area of responsibility, so to speak. And one of the things that I do is I just go around town trying to make people aware of the Meshcore network. What have I done thus far? I've gone to libraries and I've posted flyers. I've gone to businesses like cell phone repair shops, computer repair shops, tech places, and basically handed out flyers to tell them about this new text messaging network that's coming up in Colorado. It's expanding pretty fast. One of the places I wanted to go was Micro Center. I was trying to set up a table in front of Micro Center, so I could basically give out flyers, and let folks know about this, because it's a pretty cool technology, and it's expanding really fast. So just to kick this off, again, it's no towers, no bill, no company that can shut it off. That's Meshcore, and it's spreading pretty quickly. Just to give you a basic idea of how many repeaters have been put up around the state. The node count is actually how many personal nodes that you might have. That's like a companion radio. We'll get into that in just a bit.
Should be right for space bar.
Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, Meshcore. What is it? It's basically a secure text-based messaging protocol using LoRa radio hardware. It can be used for off-grid communication, disaster recovery, you name it. Basically, it's just sending messages back and forth. Now, messages are secure if you send them in a private channel. If you don't send them in a private channel, they're public for everybody to read. So don't ever send anything on the Meshcore network that you might consider to be sensitive, because encryption can be cracked. This right here is a picture of the repeater that was put up on the Parker Radio Association tower up at the water tower site, which is up in Dove Valley. It's only sitting at about 18 or 20 feet in height, but it's performing absolutely phenomenal. It's connected so many people to the mesh that if we were to get rid of it today, there'd be a lot of upset people. So basically, inside of this box that you see right here is a 1 watt LoRa node. That is the maximum power that you can use here in the United States, is 1 watt. As a ham radio operator, you can actually purchase devices that go above that power rating. There's devices out there that will put out like 4 watts, 5 watts, and some ham radio operators will purchase these devices to make up for feed line loss, because at 900 megahertz, you have a lot of feed line loss. So if you have the ability to purchase a higher power device, that allows you to put your radio inside of your shack, instead of doing a self-contained node like this. But basically, all this is a 1 watt LoRa board that costs about $39. There's a Voltaic V75 USB power pack. That power pack is special in that it can be directly charged by a solar panel. There's actually a solar charge controller inside of it. It's about a 20,000 milliamp hour battery. It's way overkill for this repeater. You don't need that big of a battery. And then in addition to that, you see right here, these 2 batteries. These are actually 21700 batteries that are cold temperature protective. as well as the voltaic, because I knew it was gonna be getting cold up there. One thing I didn't account for was how hot it's gonna be getting. I actually made a little I call it my little HVAC unit, my trained mesh. It's just a little, computer fan that sits inside of my box on my repeater at home. And it sits on a temperature control switch, so anytime the box goes above 104 degrees, a little fan inside the box turns on and draws in cool air and pushes out that hot air. I didn't put that in on this box, so that's one thing that I still need to do, because I know that box is probably gonna be really, really hot. In addition, the antenna that's on it is the fiberglass 5.8 dBi antenna. So that just gives you a gist of the hardware that was put up. I'm not gonna do the demonstration, I don't have time to do that. But I am connected to the overall mesh. If you'll look out the window right here, there's a Meshcore repeater up. And that one is actually connected to the PRA repeater right now. Believe it or not, it's actually the only other repeater that I can hear in the area. Yeah, so like I said, we're gonna skip over, we're gonna skip down to this bottom part right here, and I'm gonna open up the, this bottom link right here is basically a, let me show it to you real quick. So, bear with me, I need to open up the link. Tab. Okay, this is actually a live map of the Colorado Meshcore network. You can see packets being sent down to Colorado Springs. These are all RF packets. None of this is internet based. So anytime you see a trace being sent on this map, that's all RF based. Now the Meshcore network is really reliant upon a few repeaters that are up in the mountains. Like right here, this is Conifer. I believe this is Mount Morrison. This one is. Coal Creek is another one. This one right here is Mount Herman. Y'all know that's the mountain that Steve WGOAT activates all the time. So the network really relies on a bunch of these core repeaters right now. But as the mesh grows and gets more dense, we'll rely less and less on those repeaters. And eventually, one day the hope is that we'll be able to take those repeaters away, because the mesh will become so dense. Eventually, that's the goal eventually.
Is that live data right now?
Yeah, this is live data right now. So you can see right over here, these are actual individual packets being sent. Control means someone is sending like a command to the repeater. Group text is someone's actually sending a text message in the public channel or whatnot. Yeah, it shows you what the traces are, whether it's an advert, message, request, trace. It's really cool. It's called Core Scope. We're actually switching to something else. It's called Beacon. We haven't switched over to that yet. This, believe it or not, this is all vibe coded. This is all coded from AI. No one actually wrote this. So we're actually going to be switching to a lighter version that was written by a human being, and that actually works a little bit better than this. But if you're interested to know about the Meshcore network and you want to know more about like where the repeaters are, this is a really good source. Now, keep in mind, not everybody advertises their position for privacy reasons. So you're only going to see the repeaters and nodes on here that are where someone actually puts their GPS position into their node. All kinds of cool tools on that website, though, if you want to check it out. Okay, next slide. This is just some different photos that were submitted by Meshcore users here on the Colorado Mesh. You can see one, there's someone was on a flight and set their Meshcore node in the window to see if they could reach anybody, and you'd be amazed at how well it works at that height.
And how illegal that is. Yeah.
Is it illegal?
Yes.
It is.
Very.
Even, oh, I guess so. Here someone's using a drone just to test out lifting up a repeater. Here, good shot of someone war driving in the snow. This is basically putting a node on top of your car. We'll get into this here in just a second, and doing something called war driving. But that's just, again, just a bunch of different shots of people putting up repeaters. That one up in the upper far right was when I went up on, I don't know how to say it, Meshtastic mountain. Mountain. That's the fire lookout. I took that repeater with me up there for like 2 hours when I did a soda activation, and it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I was reaching all the way up into Cheyenne, all the way down to Pueblo. It was just incredible. So that's one thing that you can do with Meshcore. Anytime I go on a soda activation, I take the repeater with me. So this is the naming convention. You may ask, why? That was the biggest question that folks popped up with. Why do we have to, why can't I just name it whatever I want? Using a standard naming convention helps people understand where the repeaters are and what their functions are. So the Colorado Meshcore team came up with this standard naming convention. And this is, you can name your companion radios whatever you want, like the one that you carry on your person, you can name that whatever you want. But we just asked if you put a repeater up that you follow this naming convention, and it'll help people out immensely. Den right here is the closest IATA code. The other ones that we use are like, Fort Collins is FNL, Colorado Springs is COS. This section right here would be city, town, or municipality. It's in Dove Valley, so I just use Dove. Like for mine at home is AUR for Aurora. This right here, since it's for the club, I just put PRA, but it would be your nearest landmark or subdivision. Here for my repeater at home is High Point, because that's the subdivision I live in. This code right here means repeater edge. It basically means your repeater on the edge connecting to the network. The other codes here, RD, Romeo Delta, repeater distributor. It's exactly what it says. You distribute amongst multiple core repeaters. That's the third one, repeater core. Repeater core are like the repeaters that are up in Lookout Mountain, Coal Creek, things like that. They get the majority of the mesh traffic. And then of course, the last field is the first 2 bytes of your public key. Every mesh node has a public key. I forget how many bytes long it is, but that is the first 2 bytes of your public key. That will help people when they see your key on the Meshcore app. It'll help them identify your node. Any questions on that? Like I said, you don't have to follow this. It's a naming convention that really helps people understand where the repeaters are.
So when you take your one up to say Squaw Mountain, you're changing that, when you turn it on, you're logging into it, changing that name, right?
Actually, I don't follow the naming convention for that one because it's a portable repeater. I just call that one W5KB4 repeater. That's all I call it. If it's going to be a stationary repeater, I would definitely follow that. But if it's going to be one you carry around with you, putting in different places, I wouldn't give it that standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you do run it as a repeater, like take it with you wherever, you still use it with your phone to communicate messages, or you have to bring a companion radio up?
I bring a companion radio as well. Yeah. Yeah. Now, that we'll get into that right now. This is going to explain the 3 different node types. Companion radio is this right here. It's what you carry on your person. They come in many different flavors. This is just one. This is called the Think Node M1. It's $53. Operates on the 900 megahertz frequency, and it's only 160 milliwatts. This is what I use. This is like my everyday carry. and you connect to it via your cell phone, via Bluetooth. Now, you don't have to have a device that connects via Bluetooth. You can get a standalone device. This is a LilyGo T-Deck, kind of like a Bluetooth, or I'm sorry, it's kind of like a BlackBerry, so to speak. This is a standalone device. You don't need your phone to connect to the mesh with this. These are pretty cool. This one was $73. Repeater is just that. Now I said note on this one that it does not repeat anyone else's traffic. This is intentional. I said note. If you're going out camping with people and you want to have someone who repeats and you don't have a repeater on you, the cool thing about the companion nodes is you can actually put it into a repeater mode and it'll repeat for you and it won't bother anyone else on the mesh. It goes on a completely different frequency. It goes up to like 918 megahertz, whereas Meshcore transmits on 910.525 megahertz. So yeah, a repeater's job is to do just that. That's all it does. Its sole purpose is to repeat packets. There's some pretty cool firmwares for repeaters out there nowadays. It really helps save battery. So like it'll wake up when it hears a packet, it'll go back to sleep. So it really saves your battery. If you want to get on the Meshcore network, I would highly advise to have both a repeater and a companion radio. If you just get a companion radio and you try to connect to the network from inside of your house or at ground level, you're going to have a hard time. Highly advise you to have a repeater on your roof. Like mine is on my chimney on a satellite pole, not very high. Room server. We don't use room servers too much. We will use these probably in the future. Basically a room server, if you can think of like in the old days, when we used to have email servers where you could log in and get a bunch of messages and log out. That's basically what a room server is. So say if you're disconnected from the mesh from a long time, you come back to the mesh and you want to catch up on all those messages, you log into the room server and you get all those messages. That's what a room server is. This website down here is the Meshcore web flasher. You go to this website, you buy a device, you can flash your device using that website. This is how Meshcore routing works. How does it work first? The first message that you send out from your device gets flooded onto the network. Okay. The network, the cool thing, this is the difference, this is the big difference between Meshtastic and Meshcore. Meshcore actually learns the route. By the destination that you sent your packet to will send a message back to the sender with a message with all the repeaters that your message went through. Your repeater is going to store that inside of a routing table. Next time it tries to send a message out to that same destination, it's going to send it via that same route. It's going to try 3 times. If it fails on the 3rd time, it's going to broadcast a flood again because it lost that route. Now, a lot of times what I've experienced with Meshcore is that it kind of reverts to flooding a lot because people put their repeaters online, they take them offline, they put them up, they take them down, they do maintenance on them. So if you have a repeater up, try to leave it up, 24/7. If you need to take it down, that's fine, but that's the whole thing about the mesh is as it grows, the learned routing will become more and more important as the mesh grows. Any questions on that? Fun things you can do with Meshcore. One of my favorites is to take a repeater or a companion on a SOTA activation. These things work absolutely incredible when you get on top of a 14er. Like I said, up into Wyoming, it's absolutely incredible. War driving, that's one of my faves too. This is a map, an outdated map, mind you, of war driving Denver. Every single little square you see here is some sort of ping that someone made war driving throughout Denver. And the map actually looks a lot better today. There's a lot more green. But if you go to meshmapper.net, again, that's meshmapper.net, that will show you how covered our city is. People just drive throughout the city and trying to ping repeaters. There's actually a leaderboard. There's some people out there like delivery drivers, and we have one semi-truck driver in the group. He's blown everybody out of the water because he turns his node on as he drives across country. And, he racks up thousands of miles. But that's one cool thing you can do with it. Balloon launch with a repeater, again, height is might with 900 megahertz. Drone repeater, same thing. Building and designing nodes. If you got a 3D printer at home, it's really fun to build these things. They're really simple. Network and path analysis with tools available. If you want to plug a node into a Raspberry Pi, like I have right here, this is actually a 1 watt repeater that sits on a Raspberry Pi. The tools that are available to you on Linux with Meshcore are absolutely incredible. It's like physics-based network engineering. It's incredible. And then building 900 megahertz antennas. Finally, I have a use for my nano VNA. It's building things like Yahis. And when I first started connecting to the network, I started experimenting with directional antennas because our mesh was so new. We didn't have that many people on it. So I was experimenting with things like Moxons. I didn't bring my handmade Yahi with me because it's an absolute disaster. But if you're having difficulty connecting to the mesh, you can always experiment with directional antennas. The downside with that is you're cutting everybody else out around you. So you have to be mindful of using a directional antenna. Some people use a directional antenna in combination with the omnidirectional antenna. So they'll have a node that connects to one of our 4 repeaters and then a local one that broadcasts locally. So you can do that. You just have to make sure that the nodes are far enough apart. 3 or 4 feet is enough. Okay, this is so this right here is a shot of the F659 repeater, the PRA repeater that's in Dove Valley. You can see how well it covers. I mean, we're reaching all the way out past Conifer. To date, it's the number 3 repeater on the whole mesh. I guarantee you it'll be number 1. It'll be number 1 within a few months. And I've had so many compliments from people, like, thank you so much. Like, tell your radio club, thank you for putting this up. It's just drastically improved the mesh. You can see the max range. This is sort of like an average. It's 56 kilometers, so that's 30, 32, 33 miles. But yeah.
I got a question. Does the router track anything? Have any kind of record of what's been going through?
Does the repeater track?
Well, your repeater is basically passing that information. Is it tracking anything going through?
No.
Creating a log or?
No. I mean, the only log it creates is the routing table. Yeah, basically how your last packet to that destination got there. That's all it stores. Yep. Yeah. This lovely slide was developed by Alex K0ALE. Thank you, Alex, is here today. But just wanted to show how critical of a node it is. All of these circles right here show who it has directly connected to. So you can see it, you can't see this, but it directly connects with the Coal Creek, the Mount Herman repeater. Some of these others are like companions. Here's one in Parker, probably you're not sure, but it directly, now this is just the people that it directly connects, which is quite a few. It's still repeating for everybody else on the mesh, but that's just to show you how well placed that repeater is at that site. Meshcore versus Meshtastic. This is the LoRa chirp spread spectrum, where bandwidth, spreading factor, and coding rate trade range for speed and airtime. You can see the biggest difference between Meshcore and Meshtastic. Meshcore uses a 62.5 kilohertz bandwidth, where Meshtastic uses 250 kilohertz. There's a 64 hop maximum with Meshcore. Now, once you, that allowed with the addresses that we use, that gives you the ability to have 200, you know how IP addressing works, it gives you 254 nodes to use, like subnetting. So once you get past that certain point, you have to switch to what's called 2-byte. Now, 2-byte, it allows you to have a network that has less collisions. And what I mean by collisions is like when you have two repeaters that have the same key, or at least the first 2 bytes, you'll get a collision that will occur and your packet won't get to its destination. So again, going back to the number of hops that you can do, Meshtastic, you can do 3 hops. The app will let you do 7, but of course there's a note in there that says, we don't recommend you do this. And it operates on the flood principle. Meshcore operates on the flood principle as well, but it learns the route. Meshcore encourages having rooftop repeaters, whereas Meshtastic discourages it. You can have a repeater and repeat for yourself with Meshtastic. It's kind of weird. So Meshcore is really better suited for infrastructure setup, like when you want to have a bunch of repeaters throughout the town. And Meshtastic is better when you have like a small group of people. You want to go camping with like 3 or 4 people and you want to be able to communicate amongst yourselves. That's when Meshtastic works well. Meshcore is more reliable. And that's the first thing that you'll notice from people that have switched from Meshtastic over to Meshcore. You can reliably send a message from about the Wellington, Fort Collins area, all the way down to Pueblo right now. So, and that again, that's the ultimate goal, kind of going off on a tangent right here, is our ultimate goal is to bridge over the Rocky Mountain Divide. That's the ultimate goal, is to connect to people like over in Montrose, Grand Junction, things like that. Common problems. I can't connect. I'm being heard, but I can hear others. This is where I go back to the need for 2 nodes. You've got one on your person. You need to have one up really high, like on your roof, chimney, out on a balcony if you're in an apartment building, up on a high rise if you work in an office building like that downtown. We got several people that work in those high rises downtown that have some repeaters up pretty high that work pretty well. Wrong preset. When you first download the app and you first fire up your device, I'm probably going to have the EU preset in it, which is 870 megahertz, if I remember correctly. You got to make sure you select the correct preset. There is one for the USA and Canada. And that'll put you on the right frequency, the right coding rate, and the right SF, whatever it is. Stock antennas. This is an example of like the stock antennas that will come with mesh devices. I mean, it's less than 2 inches long, so you can imagine you're not going to get much range with this kind of device. A lot of times we have guys hop in the Discord and they're saying, I can't connect to the mesh, I can't connect to the mesh. What kind of antenna do you have? This one? Have you gone outside and raised your arm up in the air to try to connect to the network? No. Well, that's your problem right there. Battery polarity. It's very common to have the incorrect battery polarity on these devices. That's just one thing We've had so many people that have had burnt out cords. So if you buy one of these, just make sure you check the battery polarity. Mesh island. This is probably the most common problem that gets people to quit. You're on a mesh island and I can't connect to anyone else. You have to start somewhere. If you're out in a very rural area, like if you're out in Elizabeth or something like that, or I'm just using that as an example. You have to start somewhere though, right? I mean, the goal is that we keep telling people about the network. It keeps growing, and eventually we'll have a huge. Meshcore is very young. It's only been up for, in my opinion, about 7 months. Meshtastic has been around for several years, and if you look at the map on Meshtastic, there's thousands of users, but they're all switching over to Meshcore because they realize that they can actually communicate with it. Again, just going over some personal lessons learned on Meshcore. 900 megahertz is literally the noisiest frequency in the United States. If you haven't listened to it on a software-defined radio, I highly encourage it. It shares with all these other services right here. Cellular, railroads, oil refineries, paging systems, cordless phones, baby monitors, things like that. We're slowly losing 900 megahertz. The boards and connectors are not robust. There's these tiny, tiny little electric boards that use IPX connectors for the antenna. Absolutely horrible connectors. Some of them use SMA connectors like this, but yeah, they're not very robust. Few devices are filtered. That's another issue that people are having. They're saying, I can be heard, but I'm not hearing anybody. That's one common reason why you're not hearing anybody is because your noise is so high on 900 megahertz. I literally got on top of my roof the other day with my RTL SDR just to see how busy that exact frequency is Meshcore 910. And about every 45 seconds or so, I'll have something, and I think it's a smart utility meter, it just blasts on that frequency. So if I'm receiving a packet at that exact moment in time, it ain't gonna decode it. So yeah, my repeater is kind of intermittent in that regard. Time drift. I've noticed it with the PRA repeater. I don't have GPS on it, so it slowly creeps forward in time. If you're gonna put up a repeater on a really tall tower, make sure it has GPS on it so it keeps time in it and things like that. That moves to the next thing is the OTA firmware update challenges. They have basically come out with a tool that allows you to update the mesh node over the air. You have to install that before you put it up. I didn't put that on the Parker radio one, so I have to get really close to it to update it. Have to be within Bluetooth range. When I switched from 160 milliwatts to 1 watt, it just completely opened up my ears, so to speak. It was just a huge, huge difference when I made that switch from those basic level boards to basically the legal limit. This is a question I get all the time about deploying repeaters in random places. I've gone around all the entire city of Aurora. I've even asked Arapahoe County Sheriff. I've asked the city of Aurora. I've asked the city of Parker. I've asked the city of Denver if we could put up Meshcore repeaters on city infrastructure. And they answered every single time, no. And then if you go to a private business and ask them, their answer is going to be no as well, unless they own the building. I went to Ham Radio Outlet a couple weeks ago, and I asked, forget the manager's name over there. Mike, if because they have a tower behind the beam on it. And I asked him, I said, would you mind putting up a Meshcore here? I was like, it'd be a good way for you to have advertisement for HRO. I kind of, coined it like that. Because I can't, man, we lease this building, so I can't let you put anything up there. So he said, I'd be willing to put it in the window for you, but I'm like, that wouldn't help us out much. Again, like any young network, the Denver mesh leans heavily on a handful of core repeaters. That's changing rapidly as more and more people put up repeaters around the Denver area. And again, every new repeater that you put up just makes the network that much better. Any questions?
Yeah. So I've looked at the Meshcore stuff and things, thought about it, think it's a really cool idea. Then the thing that always stops me from spending the $50 or whatever on it, because I'm really cheap, is will I ever be able to talk to anybody actually on it? Because I'm not so much an electrical engineering experimenter, just looking at charts and graphs. I'd love to know, do I have anybody I could talk with for any reason other than trying to convince my wife, which would be impossible. Like, hey, we can message each other.
Yeah,
that I don't know whether I'm going to get her to do that.
I'm trying. I tried that with my wife.
So just practical applications beyond experimenting, and the vision is really cool. The question with all this stuff to me tends to be like, even regular analog repeaters don't get used that much. So like,
yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah, I mean, what I always tell people, if you can, I've lent out my repeater multiple times to people just to see if they could connect. And yeah, I mean, it's a big ask. It's a $50, you're spending $50 to basically, I don't know if I'm going to connect to the mesh or not, but there are tools out there that you can look at to see if there's other people that are close around you or not. You know, that's the best. I'm very, very fortunate to live where I live, in that my repeater at home it sees a lot, basically, only because I'm high up and I have a good view of the front range. So yeah, if you're sitting, I know one problem area in Denver right now is the I-25 corridor, at like next to like the Denver Tech Center and all that. There's a valley that runs through Denver, if you know the topography. You know, it raises on both sides, basically. So if you're in that area, yeah, it might be more difficult for you to connect to the mesh. That repeater out there is up for grabs. If anybody wants to borrow it, you know, to try to connect to the mesh, you're welcome to borrow that. Yeah. This is just a slide just to show you just some different places that you can purchase these boards, U.S. based and international based. Yeah.
What power are the typical companion radios? You talk about the 1 watt and the max, but like the LTEC boards, all those, what do they typically shoot?
Yeah, good question. The companion radios are 160 milliwatts. They do have, can I use yours for an example? You have your 1 watt handheld. Yeah. This is your legal limit, right? There's a 1 watt board inside of here. That's your legal limit. Again, I recommend the 1 watt board because it is one of the only devices that has filters integrated onto the board. There's actually there's a low noise amplifier and there's a series of stall filters on the rack 1 watt board, whereas all these other boards are not filtered. So you have to add in like a separate bandpass filter, or if you know how to build a cavity filter, you can build a cavity. The cavity filters are very expensive. So you can get the $39 board that already has the filters built into it and works. Yeah, the companion radios are usually, again, 160 milliwatts. You don't need that much. It seems like not a lot of power. You don't need that much with LoRa. It's incredible how well this technology works at such low power levels. Most of our core repeaters are not the 1 watt repeater. They're actually the 160 milliwatt repeaters. So, yeah. Any other questions?
For somebody who's just getting started, where should they begin?
I would tell you to go to the coloradomesh.org website. So I kind of had that here earlier. I'll show this cool map. Here, I can actually drag to show you. We have someone out in Kremlin right here. He's sitting there all by himself. He logs in every morning to send a message on our Discord just to tell everybody good morning. He's like, I'm still waiting to be connected. We tell him we're going to as well. See the other nodes. Our observer must be offline. We have some more out here in Grand. But yeah, this is a really cool web. I mean, I'll sit here and watch this website all day when I'm at work. You can turn sound on. There's an audio mode. It sounds like space lasers going off. There's all different kinds of tools right here. You can go to packets, map. This is the live view, the nodes. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty. I told everybody in the Denver Discord, I was like, please send messages around the time that I'm giving this message so I can get a little visualization. It's usually this active anyways, but yeah, it's just a cool way to visualize how the network is working. And again, if you want to know if you can easily connect to someone else, just go to this website, coloradomesh.org, and then go to the Meshcore network, because we have one for Meshtastic as well as one for Meshcore, and you can look to see where the other repeaters are. We also have a Discord. There's a link on our website if you want to hop in on our Discord. Almost 1,000 people there. We have people from all over the world in our Colorado Mesh Discord, exchanging node ideas and node deployments and how to, put up node. And recently, we have the issue right now A lot of our core repeaters, and I talk about this because I don't want people doing things that are gonna screw it up for everybody else. A lot of our core repeaters are put up into the mountains in locations where they probably shouldn't be. People just took them up into the forest and put them on some random tree. Well, there's a danger with that, right? I mean, if your node overheats and it catches fire and you cause a wildfire, I've told some of these guys, like, you gotta be careful with, that's why like the node that I deployed here for PRA, I made sure to put it like in a fireproof box, things like that, just to be extra cautious. But yeah. Any other questions?
Showing one in Park, where's that? That's right by the word Park.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I forget his name. Yeah, all I know is that's a very important node, and I actually think it's offline right now because he connects, Mount Herman to the greater mesh. I can't remember who that is, but you look. Yeah, Denver Parker. And if you want to find more information about the node, you can just like drag this one over here. And I can click on full detail. And this gives me a little bit more information. Yeah, it looks like he's, for some reason it says 0%. You get information about like who all heard the packets right here. But yeah, a lot of cool tools on this. Again, this is called Core Scope.
Yeah, so it's like that's right on me down. North of Sunseers. Yeah. So he's over the hill.
Yeah. Johnny, for the newbie who's getting into this, what would your recommendation be for their first device?
Gosh, that's a hard. My office is full of so many mesh devices. I mean, if you're looking at this from a like, do you want one that's just like a polished product? You don't want to have to tinker with it at all, or do you want to make it, connect the antenna and all that? You can go two different routes with Meshcore. You can buy a device that's ready to go, or you can do something more along lines like this that you make.
Let's say for the newbie, it's plug and play.
Well, money's no object.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to recommend one specific product. There's a card out there called the T1000. What's the new one that helps that? T1. There's one out there that's like the size of a credit card, and you can put it in a MagSafe case and slap it on the back of your phone. That's the one I really like. But yeah, those ones that comes with an internal antenna. Anything that has an internal antenna on it's not going to have very good range. So most of the devices that I've purchased, they have external antennas that way you can change if you want to. The ThinkNode M1 is a pretty good option. It's from Elecro, $53. It's an e-ink display. So watch, I'll turn it off, kind of like a Kindle. Basically.
yeah.
That one saves the battery on that one lasts like 3 days probably. A lot on the other devices, a lot of your batteries will last maybe a day.
Yeah, hey, Johnny, I want to talk about the infrastructure at the experimental site. When we talked about you putting this up, we were a little worried about interference between the Meshtastic and the Meshcore. Did you experience any interference issues or anything that was outside of what you had planned for when you put this up at the site?
I mean, if there are interference issues, it's none that I can really tell. Yeah, I mean, there's no way for me. Like, I can see, you can log into the repeater and it'll tell you how many packet errors. That could be anything. It could be a number of, it received a weak packet. I don't know, but yeah, Pete's right. It's very, the antenna is very close to the Meshtastic antenna. And I'm sure there's probably some interaction there.
We offset that.
Yeah. And the hope is too, is that they're hopefully not transmitting at the same time. But yeah, I haven't experienced any interference issues there. And I can actually intermittently, I can log into the PRA repeater from home, which my home repeater is right here. So I can get to the PRA repeater. I think it's bouncing through 3 hops to do like administrative updates to the repeater and things like that. So,
You mentioned, you should get the repeater and a companion radio, so on those list of sites you had, do we ever just sell both of those pieces in one box?
not both,
Okay,
but separate. Yeah, definitely separate.
but they're all interchanged, so if, you know, if you buy the K0 TNG repeater and the AC5S, you know, ham shack special.
Yeah.
That gets expensive.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how many devices there. If I had to guess, there's probably 200-300 different kinds of devices out there that you can flash with the Meshcore firmware. You just go to their website and they've got you'll see a picture of your device. Select that, and you'll select your port and flash it that way. It's really easy.
So when the map is quiet, is that just people typing, or what are they doing when it's like that? When it's
Oh,
quiet?
yeah, it's just absolutely quiet. No RF packets being sent whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, I think it's not, the devices are interchangeable between Meshcore and Meshtastic.
they are.
They are.
Yep. Yeah. Same devices that you use on Meshtastic. Yep. Yeah. So I highly encourage anyone and everyone who wants to try it out. Put up a rooftop repeater. It's really fun. You can chat in the public chat room where everybody else chats. Or I sent out a link in the groups IO with a QR code for a chat room that is only for PRA. We'll be the only ones that see it. You can set up a chat with someone else specifically to have a private chat and exchange QR codes that way. But the network is very active from about 5 a.m. in the morning, and then you'll see it drop off about 10 o'clock. Everybody goes to bed. There's other channels like ham radio. There's a ham radio channel that there was a 6-meter opening the other day that I let everybody know about. And I hopped on the ham radio channel and said, hey, there's a 6-meter opening. Any other questions?
Are there any other, metropolitan areas comparable to this outside of Colorado?
Oh, yeah, the biggest one is the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, it's,
I hope Seattle.
yeah, Seattle. They've actually connected. I'm talking like all the way up into Canada, the entire state of Washington, entire state of Oregon, a little bit of Montana. Yeah, it's called the Cascadia mesh. It's phenomenal. If you really want to see a big mesh, go look at the Meshcore map in Amsterdam. You want to talk about every single person has a Meshcore repeater over there. So I think people are starting to see the value in it. That's this text-based network that's absolutely free. You control it. No one can tell you to turn it off. Your power goes down, it still works as long as you build a self-reliant repeater. Like the one I have up for PRA. If the power were to go down, it's still gonna work.
You can dial 911 on the thing?
No, unfortunately. There is someone that's experimenting with voice, believe it or not, voice over LoRa. It's experimental. It was at Dayton Convention. If any of you went, there's someone that's experimenting with voice. It's still in the works. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Yeah.
Wait, we got another.
Can you give me a couple, 3 examples of actual messages that you're transmitting?
Example from.
Yeah, literal, a message.
Oh, I mean, for 4th of July, I told everyone what my favorite beer was. Yeah, I told everybody, I mean, again, it's just, sending random messages to people. It's nothing, specific as far as, I haven't accomplished like a super distant contact or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, it's just, communicating with other like-minded people throughout Denver, developers, programmers, construction workers, you name it.
You can send it to specific.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
what would that, you just have to like a call sign or what is that?
Yeah, they'll send what's called an advert. You get your device, you fire it up, program it and all that. The first thing you want to do is send an advert. That's an advertisement. You're just advertising yourself to the network. Hey, here I am. Everybody's going to receive a message on their phone that enters their contact into your phone. You just click on that person and, put in a message and send it to them.
So it does have a contact list that you build in your phone.
Yes. Yeah. Some of them are limited to like 350 contacts. So, I haven't reached that point yet. I'm at 278 on mine. If you have a Raspberry Pi, the contacts are unlimited because you have unlimited storage on that thing. These things have really limited, like 2 megabytes storage. So, not much at all.
And I'm sorry, what's the length of the message?
254 characters, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. So, an average size text message.
How do you recharge the battery on the repeater that's on your wireless?
Solar.
Oh,
You have a solar panel, just like the PRA. You don't have to have a solar repeater on it. If you want to run power to it, that's fine. You just gotta have, a dongle that's long enough to reach power it. Or if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can power it over PoE, power over Ethernet. That's a popular way that folks do it. Yeah, I have a 5-watt solar panel on my repeater at home. The PRA repeater has a 10-watt solar panel. It completely overkill. So, yeah.
So this sounds like uncensorable, decentralized Twitter to be active. But what do people actually use this for? Do they use it just like something like Twitter, or are there actual legitimate?
It's
Is it
just
fun
like,
or is it?
it's just like sending text messages on a mobile network.
Okay.
Yeah, same principle, basically, except we are the cell network.
Right.
Right.
But I was wondering, do people just do this for fun, or are there actual uses for it besides fun?
Yes, there are uses for it. One of the popular ones is agriculture, like using Internet of Things sensors on a farm where you do not have cell phone connection to get status updates on things like water meters, gates, things like that, where you poll something to get some information. That's how it works. So yeah, there's other things besides text messaging. Like if you know what Internet of Things is about, you can integrate IoT sensors into Meshcore and pull those sensors whenever you need it. So like say if you've got a property, you can check and make sure that my front gate's closed. You can pull it up on Meshcore, pull it, it'll send you a message back, yes, the gate's closed. So yeah.
And there's channels for like groups and stuff, like, am I right?
Yeah, there's not just the public channel. I mean, there's a ham radio channel, there's a bot channel. The bot channel is like, you want to check your connection to the mesh, but you don't want to bother other people. We have some automated bots that will reply to you in the bot channel. It'll tell you what your signal strength was when you got to the repeater. It'll tell you how many repeaters that you went through to get there. Really cool stuff.
Is there a PRA channel?
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's a QR code in the groups IO. I'll post it again. Yeah, but there's a QR code there that gives you the link to our private channel. And that, please don't share that outside the club, because that's just for the club. Yeah, question?
Yeah, so can we create our own channels ourselves on our devices, but then still use the network to pass it around, or does the repeaters know about the part of the channels as well?
Your repeater's gonna pass the message regardless.
On
Yeah, even if it's like a private message, it's the repeater's sole function is to repeat. It doesn't do anything else. But, yeah.
So is the no activity out, east because of just being a rural area and people not having repeaters? Or is it because of terrain features, say, we know Denver sits in a hole. It's because we see it going north-south.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah, we don't have anybody that way. We don't have anybody. This just shows the Colorado mesh. You're not gonna see better metropolitan areas.
Well, even out to say Fort Morgan or Rush or Lyman or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't had anybody out in that area, come up with nodes yet. Yet,
Did you say this is only 7 months old?
only 7 months old.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. The exciting part was the day that we, first successfully sent a message from Colorado Springs to Denver. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, somewhere I've been reading, I don't know if it's the APRS Groups IO or one of them, that they've connected Phoenix with LA. They've got, is that Meshtastic or is that Meshcore? Do you know?
Meshcore.
Yeah.
Yes.
People have been finding mountains in the desert, sticking a
Right.
node up there, and they've got apparently you could drive all the way from Phoenix to LA and beyond the mesh network.
Speaking of APRS, I was heavy into APRS. I had an iGate up. And it's hard for me to describe how much better LoRa works than in order to receive an APRS packet, your noise has to be above your signal has to be above the noise floor. With LoRa, it can be 100 times under the noise floor and still be decoded. That's the advantage of LoRa over something like APRS. I wish I could show the map, but right now there's several hams who have, well, this is completely off topic, but there's several hams that have LoRa APRS nodes, which operates on 433 megahertz, but it operates again with LoRa. There's little nodes out there that you can get, that you can flash with APRS software. I think some dude down in Chile came out with this software for these LoRa ports, and there's a lot of people that are doing LoRa on APRS now. There's not that many people on it because most 2-meter radios transmit via the normal APRS frequency, which is 144.390. But there is APRS out there on 433 megahertz, and it works phenomenal. You're talking about power levels like this, 160 milliwatts, and my APRS pack is heard 150 miles away. So, yeah. So for those of you that don't know, there's APRS on 70 centimeters. It's a really cheap way to add APRS to your radio too. You can get because the APRS capable 2-meter radio is really expensive. You can get a 70 centimeter LoRa APRS node for $20-$30. You carry it on soda activation. You're on APRS.
We do not have one of the, up on Swan, I assume. Do not.
Meshcore?
Yeah.
No. I would love for that one, but yeah, that would provide a lot of coverage. Yeah.
Randy, just go up there and do it. Strap to a
I don't
pole.
have to go shit inside.
Just strap to a pole.
Yeah, but if anybody has any questions as far as like how to set things up, feel free to contact me after this meeting. My email's on QRZ. I'll help you set a device up if you have any problems, if you have any questions. Or again, if you want to join the Colorado Mesh Discord, a lot of cool stuff going on that as well. Any other questions? Okay, thank you all for the time.
Johnny, just a fantastic presentation. I want to thank you for it. I have a feeling Amazon's going to come and visit me here at some point this week. Get on the right screen here and I'll be good to go. So again, Johnny, thank you so much for just a fantastic presentation.